Okay, we are back. We are back from the non-commercial break. Advertisers, marketers, you're listening. Okay, so getting into what we call 3-star and above fights for this weekend, because this is boxing. There's so many fights. There's a guy right now starting up. You know what I mean? There's a 16-year-old somewhere in Mexico fighting. You know what I mean? We ain't talking about those, all right? We talking about the fights, for one, that I'm interested in. So let's get right into that. This is Who You Got, all right? And y'all remember that legal. Don't forget that legal part y'all heard, all right? Don't be chill out. All right, so the first fight I'm going to get into is the Nonito Donaire versus the Alejandro Santiago. Nonito right now is 40, and he's trying to make history as the oldest belt holder ever in the bantamweight division. I think this is going to be an interesting fight. And by the way, did y'all see either one or two as far as Donaire and Inoue? He did his thing.
I didn't see it.
He did his thing. Donaire did his thing.
He did good. I think he dropped him too, right?
Yeah, he did.
He dropped him.
Did.
Yeah,
the second fight was a nomination, but
yeah, but the first.
I was proud of the first fight. He looked good.
Yeah.
But this fight is going to be interesting. Alejandro has a pretty good hook. He has good body work. For me, he kind of reminds me of a less skilled Isaac Cruz. If you see Alejandro fight, he kind of reminds me of that. How he just comes in, bobbing, hands really high. He kind of reminds me of that. He didn't look so good in his last fight, but he fought a dog. But this one, this is a fight Nonito can actually win, y'all.
You know, I'm not too familiar with
Nonito? Alejandro? Not many people are. He's coming up.
Donaire definitely.
Donaire, yeah, he's a legend.
He's a legend, you know. But one thing about Donaire, you can't slouch at all.
No, you can't.
You got to be a top-notch fighter.
Absolutely.
And veteran presence matter.
And it does. And his hook.
Right. It's nice.
His hook will knock anybody out.
I will say, though, this fight, yes, the hook, he's going to definitely have to use the educated jab as well, because this guy's going to be coming up, hands up. He's going to have to be hitting that forehead all night. Yeah. Keep this guy away, because like I said, this guy is, Alejandro is a very good body puncher.
The thing about it is, you got to respect, one thing about
power.
He's a counter puncher.
Yeah.
If you cannot come in there throwing shots.
Right.
I think you're not going to get tagged with that hook. So, you know, he got to keep that hand up the whole night.
Right.
It's like going to the park and watching the old guy that play ball. He still got certain moves.
Absolutely.
He can make the pass. He can make the shots. Like, he's going to have things that he done picked up over the years that he going to go right back to that. Hey, I'm a veteran. You not. I got these tips that you don't got yet. You're gonna learn them in this fight.
And like I said, he's trying to make history, and I think he can do it.
I think he can.
Who you got? Donaire winning on the cards. Donaire wins in he wins this fight.
Or by knockout.
I don't think he gets a knockout. Nah.
Because he could. One thing about he's capable of knocking anybody out.
Of course he is. So all right. So that's it. Who you got? Donaire on the cards. All right. So moving on. Isaac Cruz versus Giovanni Cabrera. Giovanni Cabrera. Not bad. Not a bad. He's not bad. Okay, you know what? What's this guy's name? You remember the guy that I think Crawford fought him. The guy who was limping.
Okay.
He fights kind of like
Benavidez.
No. It was somebody else. Dang, was it Crawford? What fight am I thinking of? Limping? Who fought him? There was a guy who was limping. He had like a peg. He had a peg leg in. It wasn't Fundura. Who fought him?
Benavidez was limping when he fought Benavidez.
I know. I remember that one, but this wasn't Benavidez.
Okay,
this wasn't the Benavidez fight. This wasn't that. It was another fight. I can't remember, but Cabrera, he's all right. He's a very strong puncher. Big puncher.
You think so?
This Cabrera cat is a big puncher.
I watched him shadow box, and I'm like,
Giovanni Cabrera is a strong. He don't look good. No. If you just the eye test, nah. The eye test, he fails that every time.
Strong puncher? Because
he got power. That's what keeps him. That's why he's fighting.
His left hand can't bust a grape. I was thinking. I come at that on
that right though.
I come at that.
That right. That right though.
I gotta see him.
From what I've seen, the guy definitely has some power.
Oh really? Okay.
He definitely has some power because he ain't the most skilled guy.
Not at all.
Just looking at him, you're like, who the hell is this? Nothing about him says I'm a good boxer. Nothing about him. But he got power.
If he doesn't have distance, don't know how to control distance.
Right, because he definitely has the height and reach. Obviously, like most people.
He does. He does. But if he doesn't have the control distance,
right,
and know how to box, he will not beat Cruz.
Right. I think Cruz wins this fight by KO, and I'm calling it before the ninth. So who you got? Cruz before the ninth by KO.
I can see that.
This guy keeps his chin up. He throws standing there straight up.
I got Cruz.
And relies on his power. All right.
I got Cruz.
All right. So moving on, the big fight. Y'all already gave y'all opinions on these fights. These guys are both in their prime. I believe Terrence Crawford, and this is Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence, obviously, y'all. So who you got? I think this goes the distance, and Crawford edges him out on the cards. All right. Like I said, I can see a split.
We getting a 2 if that happens.
I think Terrence Crawford is the perfect boxer right now. Yeah. Right now. Errol Spence is more of a brawler boxer. But sure, yeah, absolutely sure it can go in either way. But again, who you got? Crawford on the cards, man. That's my take. That's what I think. Obviously, these guys see it differently, but that's my take. And I think we're gonna end it on that. Unless y'all got something quick to say, we're gonna end it. We've been here long enough.
If Crawford can control distance,
which we know he can.
It'll be easy night for him.
Right.
And
here's what I say.
Make it quick.
Yeah. 5 real quick. Mm-hmm. I'm with y'all. He controlled distance. He wins the fight. I don't believe that's going to be his game plan. And I believe because of that, Errol Spence is going to be ready for that dogfight.
And I will say this one thing about Spence. One thing about Spence, he got one speed. He can go.
I know, yeah.
But Crawford, he knows how to adjust.
You see him adjust all the time.
He everything.
Come on,
so
he does.
I think
that makes a difference.
These are the best 2 fighters to me in the sport.
So I think
Crawford.
I think if Crawford,
if you had to pick top 2,
Spence definitely.
If you had to pick 2, you ain't putting Spence at number 2. You ain't putting Spence at number 1.
I'm number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah.
All the fighters that's fighting right now, the second best fighter in the world.
If he wins this fight,
you talking about the division? Hold on, you just talking about the division, right? That's what you're doing. If you talk about the division, that's obvious. We're talking about all the boxing.
Right.
Who do you have? Who do you got for top 5? Who do you have for top 5?
I have to get Spence 2. I have to.
I'm not looking at Tyson Fury.
Me neither.
Okay, so
that's a long list, man. That got to be another episode.
The only thing,
I'm coming back. Hey, episode 3 or episode 2, I'm coming back with my top 5. I will answer this question. All right, y'all got to stay tuned for that. But for now, we are gonna get out of here. This was the first episode of the Pull Counter Podcast. Thank you to my guest, my boy Dennis, and former big dog, Biggie boy, Joseph Elegele, man. Great interview. I appreciate you coming through, man. We're gonna do more business in the future. I need Erickson Lubin in this episode, man. I need Erickson Lubin in this episode, man. I need Erickson Lubin. I need the interview. I got a lot to talk to him about. I got a lot. That Fondura fight, man. But hey, like I said, man, subscribe please to the Pull Counter Podcast YouTube page. It's a brand new page. I'm trying to go live on that page as much as possible. Just got to get the followers up right now, or the subscribers. So subscribe. Also, Dear Future Robots, I'm going to always shout out my baby, Dear Future Robots Podcast. Subscribe everywhere you can find podcasts for both of those shows, and also the YouTube. Again, we're going to be going live as much as possible. But I really appreciate y'all sticking with us to the end of this video. I hope y'all got a lot from it. And like I said, we're trying to make this the new home of boxing, right? We trying to bring fresh, new blood into the game, man. All right, and we talking to you, that guy, that girl that does not know much right now, or wants to know more about the sport and wants to get into it and just doesn't really know where to start or how to get into it, or isn't really hearing conversations that can really translate to them. This is your home. All right? So, hey, Pull Counter Podcast, man. We out. Peace.